Fuel distributors, 5 types of failures. So today we're going to talk about the KE fuel distributor, and some of this stuff does apply to the K-Jet fuel distributor. So KE Jetronic has a warm-up regulator and an EHA valve that mounts right here. And K-Jetronic has an external warm-up regulator. But we're going to talk about things that go wrong with these systems that can lead to some bizarre running issues that you may have a lot of trouble diagnosing because they are either A, very subtle, or B, they're very annoying and you don't really know where to look. So let's start with A, the fuel distributor misfire. Now, if you have a random misfire or a weak idle and the car's been sitting for a long time, there's a very good method of diagnosing this kind of problem with the engine in operation. You see these pots right here on the top constitute the fuel delivery to each cylinder. It's a fuel distributor from a 560 SL, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One for each cylinder. One by one, you go through and you crack the lines and see, while the engine is idling, which line is flowing fuel and which line is not. Now, because I'm not an idiot, I'm going to tell you to have a fire extinguisher handy. But as long as your spark plug wires are healthy and they're not ripped or torn and they're properly insulated with the insulation that Mercedes wants you to use, the 20 millimeter DIN insulation, you should be fine. Just don't, start an open flame around it or something. And if the pot is not flowing fuel and the other 7 are, as you go through and check them, then something is wrong. Now, here's another caveat. When you're checking these things, you have to wiggle. You have to undo the line about 1 to 2 turns, and sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to unseat. And this wiggling will sometimes unseat the tapered line. So another failure mode is too much fuel on a cylinder. This happens more with K-Jet than KE. And so you're going through, and you'll see that each pot at idle is dribbling fuel. But then you'll see one where the fuel is just gushing out. This will foul the spark plug and cause the injector to over-inject. And it is a major problem, a very, very serious problem. That will cause plug fouling in one cylinder. And so some people go, oh, all the pots are delivering, everything must be fine. No. If one is delivering too much fuel, you're going to have some major inconsistencies in the way that the car runs. Now, a third major issue that most people are not aware of that can have disastrous consequences is a fuel leak from the bottom of the fuel distributor. Now, this happens more again on K-Jet than KE, but it can happen in KE as well. Will fill up your crankshaft or your crankcase sump with gasoline. Now, I had one car where it was so bad that it filled the crankcase up to the brim and the car was shooting gas and oil out of the breathers. How does this happen? Well, it dilutes the fuel a lot too. But I ended up draining something like 3.5 gallons of fuel and oil out of that engine. And if you're wondering whether this is happening, well, smell your oil and see if it smells like gas. If it smells excessively of gas, then you know that something is going on here. Now, a fourth mode where the fuel distributor can fail involves no delivery at all. Now, if you changed your EHA and you're still getting no delivery, it means that the little slits in the diaphragm between what is colloquially referred to as the upper chamber and the bottom chamber, although there are some people that may not like this terminology, it's the simplest way to explain it. Between these two halves is a rubber diaphragm, and fuel does flow through here. If the thing is so occluded and disgusting and dirty, you will either not get any fuel or you will not get enough fuel. And the way that I usually see this problem manifest is some fuel will flow. I'll start the engine and it'll idle, and I'll be able to accelerate to about 800 to 1,000 RPMs, but as soon as I put the car in drive, it'll struggle to run. And this is usually a sign that the fuel distributor is so blocked up with crud from the car sitting and from ethanol gas being in there, that the diaphragm and the little socket, there's a little internal filter in here, are just completely blocked up and cannot be unclogged. You have to disassemble the fuel distributor and rebuild it, and then, you know, then the car will run normally. But if the car is choking out and just will not get out of its own way, even though it looks like you have fuel delivery to each cylinder and it dies under load, you know where the problem is coming from. Now, number 5 is a very simple problem, and it involves cars with dirty fuel tanks. On the inlet line right here, there's a filter. This filter can get blocked up, and it doesn't happen very often, but you remove this fitting and clear it. And that, coupled with cleaning the filter and the EHA problem, has restored operation to a lot of dead cars. So these 5 steps are 5 steps I would encourage you to use to evaluate your fuel distributor, and learn how to jumper your fuel pump relay also between terminal 87 and 15, so that you can loosen all the lines and push down in the plate with the pump running, so that you can see the fuel pots delivering fuel manually without having to run the engine. Just make sure you're not dumping that fuel into the motor. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe this video. Subscribe to this channel. Please like this video, and please share it with your other friends who have Classic Mercedes so that they have a little bit more knowledge. And if you can, you know, and you've had some experience at this, leave a comment below so that other users can learn from it. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. This Saturday, we're recording another Mercedes Benz Classics video. See you guys in the future.